Hello, feral friends and fellow nature nerds, and welcome to Dirt Dispatch number 41. I'm your host, Tim the Nature Nerd O'Hara. So here at Dispatches HQ, we not only mark the seasons that are defined by the rising and setting of the sun, but within those seasons, we tend to mark other seasons defined by the invertebrates that are invading our house. For example, in June-ish, we have Miller Moth season. Now, I've talked about Miller Moths before, but just to review, Miller Moths, at least the ones we have here, are the adult form of army cutworms. Adult moths lay their eggs in the fall at low elevations in the Great Plains and Intermountain West here in the United States. Larvae hatch in the late fall and feed mostly at night through the winter and into the spring. Then in the spring, they pupate in the soil and emerge as adult moths, which then migrate in large numbers to high elevations in the northern Rocky Mountains, stopping to rest on the way in my house and garage and mailbox. But as annoying as they may be when they're passing through, they're important pollinators for alpine wildflowers. And since up to 72% of the moth's body weight is fat, the highest known body fat percentage of any animal, they're one of the richest food sources for predators in this ecosystem, including bats and surprisingly brown bears. They're more calorie rich than deer or elk. In the fall, they migrate back to low elevations, but since a lot of them now have become food for other animals, they do it in much smaller numbers, so they're not invading the house like they do in the spring. But lest we get lonely here in the fall, we have another season in October-ish, Boxelder bug and western conifer seed bug season. If you're unfamiliar, Boxelder bugs are small black bugs with red or orange markings on them. They're sap-sucking insects related to cicadas and stink bugs, and as their name suggests, they're primarily attracted to boxelder trees. But boxelders aren't their only host. They're also attracted to other types of maple or ash trees, along with cottonwoods, which is something we have in relative abundance here. During dry summers, they've been known to infest fruit-bearing trees, consuming fruits like almonds, cherries, plums, pears, or apples, and leaving cosmetic damage to softer fruits like grapes or peaches. But normally, boxelder bugs feed on the foliage, seeds, and new growth of their host plants by piercing the plant tissue with their needle-like mouth parts. High-density populations can cause leaf discoloration or even premature leaf drop in affected trees. And this time of year, as the temperatures cool, they're looking for warm, sheltered places where they can overwinter, so they come inside, especially if you live in a historic home that's not particularly well sealed against bugs that want to keep warm. Now, to be clear, boxelder bugs don't pose any sort of health risk for humans. They don't bite, they don't transmit diseases, they're just kind of annoying to have in the house. At worst, they leave red stains on walls or fabric, and maybe smell a little bit unpleasant if you handle them. I mean, they are related to stink bugs after all. But if you go online to find information about these insects, most of what comes up is from pest control companies, who advise everything from pesticides to removing potential host trees from your property. Now, I get that you don't want them in the house, but boxelder bugs are a native species, and although they can damage their host trees, that damage is generally only cosmetic, and the tree's going to be just fine. So what I'm saying here is that cutting down trees seems like an extreme reaction. The best and actually most common advice is to make sure your house is sealed to keep them out, and if they do get in, physically remove them. I just try to kick out individuals that show up in the house, but we'll often have a congregation of a couple of dozen or so in our south-facing front entryway, which may necessitate getting out the vacuum and vacuuming them up. Now, along with the boxelder bugs, we have a similar species that shows up this time of year for basically the same reasons, and those are the western conifer seed bugs. Western conifer seed bugs are a little bit bigger than boxelder bugs, with light and dark brown markings instead of the black and red, but otherwise they're similar in shape. These are also colloquially referred to as stink bugs because they release a distinct odor when threatened. I'll be honest, I don't think they smell that bad. It reminds me of overripe apples. Not a rotting apple smell, just an overly sweet apple-ish type smell. Again, like Boxelder bugs, western conifer seed bugs are sap-sucking insects. They feed on the sap of developing conifer trees, as their name would suggest, which causes the developing seeds to wither and misdevelop. Because of this, they're considered a minor tree pest, but they can be more harmful in a conifer plantation setting, which in my opinion is less an indictment against the bug and more a problem with having a monoculture of conifers. Biological diversity is a natural state, a good thing, and anywhere you have a monoculture of anything, you're bound to have more problems. In fact, while conifers may be the seed bug's preferred host, it's not monophagous, meaning they're not limited to feeding just on conifers. They're adaptable enough to feed on other flowering plants. And interestingly, they seem to prefer plants that are rich in terpenes, which are produced by plants to deter herbivores. So they seem to be evolving in their ability to overcome these defenses. Like Boxelder bugs, western conifer seed bugs don't bite and they don't transmit diseases. They don't even reproduce inside your home. They're just looking for a warm place to overwinter. Advice from several university agricultural extensions is that to keep them out of your house, you just need to make sure your window screens are intact, something that's a problem here at Dispatches HQ after our big hailstorm this past summer, and seal any openings or cracks, and vacuum up any that get inside. Now, in addition to the Boxelder bugs and western conifer seed bugs, one thing I noticed just last night is that we have a south-facing room in the attic that was absolutely infested with houseflies in the late afternoon. I'm talking like a scene from a horror movie. I have no doubt that it's the same story as the Boxelder bugs and seed bugs, a warm place to cozy up. And for the most part, they seem to be confined to just that one spot, a south-facing window in a small attic room. Now, since that room isn't insulated or heated, and since overnight temperatures were below freezing, as near as I can tell, most of them didn't make it. Okay, one last thing, and just so you know, ladybugs are known to congregate in large numbers to overwinter too, and frequently find their way into homes to do it. So don't be surprised. But that spider in your bathroom in the middle of December has probably been there all year. You're just now seeing it for the first time. On that note, my friends, we're going to wrap this one up. If you want to support the podcast, there's many ways you can do that. Become a patron. Subscriptions start at just $5 a month. And with 3 paid months, you get some free Dispatches from the Forest merch. Find all the details at patreon.com/dispatchesfromtheforest. You can donate through PayPal using my email address, dispatchesfromtheforest@gmail.com, which is, of course, also the best way to contact me if you have a question, comment, or a suggestion for a future episode. If a check's more your style, just shoot me an email from my mailing address. You can also donate using the Cash App and the hashtag ForestNerd. Go check out the merch store at cafepress.com/shop/dispatchesfromtheforest. Click on products, find something you like. Finally, you can follow Dispatches from the Forest on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I'm your host, Tim the Nature Nerd O'Hara, reminding you to go outside and get dirty. Dirt Dispatches is a production of Dispatches from the Forest and may not be used or rebroadcast whole or in part without express written permission.